What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so before I get into this video, I want to give a big shout out to the man, the myth, the legend, the brother Robert Mason coming through once again for a donation to the channel. Salute to you, brother. Long-time Golden State Warrior fan and all-around great person. I also want to give a shout out to everybody that has subscribed to this channel and has shared these videos with others to help expand this channel. We just went over 38,000 subscribers. To be honest with you, I should be at least at 70,000. But, you know, YouTube put the screws to everybody that's at the bottom. So it is what it is. But I want to salute to everybody that's on the Patreon. And to those of you who might be interested in signing up to the Patreon, there's a link scrolling across the screen. For a direct link, you can find it in the All My Links link in the description box. Also, there should be a link to the Patreon in the comments, but sometimes YouTube plays games and hide a lot of their type of stuff. But anyway, so now I see. Last time I talked about Cris Carter, I said that he was a guest on a podcast called Fully Loaded. But no, this is a podcast that he's co-hosting with someone named, I'm probably screwing up his last name, Sean Mankey. But anyway, once again, he talked about Skip Bayless, and he talked about how these debate shows are not real. At least some of the sports debate shows, I'm inquiring to believe that political debate shows probably have similar formats, some of them. But anyway, Skip supposedly responded to Cris Carter's assertion about him back when Cris Carter was on ESPN First Take. Cris Carter said it was an incident where they were talking about Tim Tebow, and Cris Carter said that he made a point that Tim Tebow would never be an elite starting quarterback in the NFL because he was not a good thrower of the football, which proved to be correct. Skip got into his feelings and basically told him that he was wrong on that, and that he also went in saying that, I think he said something about Tim Tebow was the reason why they were winning because he was competitive or some crap. He gave everybody hope or something. It was inspirational, something. Cris Carter was giving Tim Tebow too much credit. He said, you're wrong on that. And then he said, that's why, in retort to him saying, no, I'm right on this. I played the game. He said, and that's why you never won a Super Bowl. So Cris Carter took great offense to that when we went to break. He said, you ever talk to me like that again, I'm going to punch you in your face, and he got up and left. And he said he never again appeared on an ESPN show with Skip, though he did appear on Fox Sports with Skip years later. He also, in his prior podcast, talked about how these sports debate shows are largely scripted. And he reiterated that today. He said that he had not heard what Skip had said as far as responding to this claim. He said somebody had told him that Skip had said something, but didn't hear it. So Sean Mankey, I guess is his name or whatever, said that, basically Skip said he doesn't remember that incident. And Cris Carter said that, he ain't calling Skip a liar, but he said it did happen. And he said that the proof of it is a guy commented on that video who was a producer on that First Take show, and he said that he recalled vividly that incident occurring, and the show that Cris Carter referenced, people have been uploading on social media. So Skip, we can't say that Skip is lying, but I think he is. But Cris Carter's definitely not lying about the show. And basically, he talked also about how Skip did a lot of people wrong, in particular, how he did Shannon Sharp wrong. Like, Skip got too much credit as far as launching Shannon Sharp's career. Shannon Sharp had already been on TV for years before that. As I said before, he was on the NFL Network. He was on CBS when affiliated with the NFL back in the day. So he'd already made his bones in that industry after he retired in the mid-2000s from the NFL. And, you know, another thing that he brought up was he said, you just don't disrespect a guy like Shannon Sharp. Shannon Sharp brought a lot to the table. Shannon Sharp was a guy that, you know what I'm saying, was rare in the industry. Shannon Sharp is a good guy, good as far as debating. He has the gift of gab. He has enough knowledge in basketball to talk basketball, but he has a masterful knowledge of the NFL, which Skip often disrespected. And basically, they made the case, him and the other guy, I think his name's Sean Mankey, made the case that Skip has been basically phased out of sports because, you know, this is just basically chickens coming home to roost. You know, this is years of Skip, you know, burning his bridges with people, you know what I'm saying, insulting athletes. And this is basically what's due to him. But the other point that Cris Carter brought up, and this is the thing that I want to emphasize a little bit more, is he talked about how these shows were scripted. Now, he talked about that before, but he went into more detail. He said basically what they do is this. They'll go to the two participants and they'll give them the topic. And they'll say, okay, this is the position that we want you to take. And this is the position you have to argue. So, yes, a lot of times when you're watching these shows, these guys are arguing positions that they really don't believe. They don't really believe what they're saying, but they're tasked to make an argument, a lawyerly argument. But, you know, one of the things about that is when you go into debating class, that's something that you have to do. That's something you have to learn, to argue for and against a position. It builds your debating skills, okay? But what I don't like is they present it as if though this is what these people believe. They present it as if though this is what these guys actually believe, and when reality, they don't really believe a lot of this crap. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I think that adds more credence to the suspicion that guys like Nick Wright and others don't always believe what they're saying. But, you know, I think people have been caught on about the whole sports debate thing for a minute, though. I think people have been suspecting that for a while, and that's why you've seen a decline in the popularity of the sports debate show. But to be honest with you, you know what I'm saying? I think that's been going on for quite some time. I think it's been going on for quite some time as far as the decline in it. But, you know, at the end of the day, you know, getting back to Skip, like I said, this is something that he has nobody to blame other than himself. He has nobody to blame other than himself. You know, when you go around, look, I know I talk trash, right? We all do that. But when I'm on a program or a platform with like a Ticket TV or somebody like that, you know what I'm saying, somebody that actually played the game, I stay in my lane. You know, I like sports. I like to talk about the history of the sports, but I didn't play the game. That's just something you do, bro. It's out of respect. But when people like Skip, who never won a damn thing and never really was much of an athlete, insult a Hall of Fame athlete like Cris Carter, who is just one of, as he said, 25,000 men in history to play in the NFL, that's insulting. It's insulting. It's insulting. It's very insulting. And that just smacks of ego and entitlement. And another thing he brought before I leave you with this is that he said, Skip made a lot of money on Fox Sports, and he had total control over that show, as far as the topics, what they would debate about, et cetera, et cetera. You know what I'm saying? Shannon Sharp really didn't have any control on that show. He didn't. And I thought that he did a really good job debating against Skip, because sometimes I believe that, not when it comes to LeBron all the time, but when it came to the Kyrie, the Kyrie situation, not the Kyrie situation, excuse me, I take it back. When it came to the Russell Westbrook situation, I like to think that Shannon Sharp thought a lot of that was BS. You know what I'm saying? I never seen an athlete get dragged like that. And that's when I really, truly soured. I mean, I already wasn't a fan of Skip, but that's when I truly soured on that guy, man. Because I thought that what they did was absolutely just reprehensible. And, Shannon Sharp wasn't really making the type of money. I mean, don't get me wrong, he made a lot of money, but he wasn't making the money he really should have gotten at that point. And he talked about how Skip could have went to those people and argued and fought for and put pressure on them to give Shannon Sharp more money, but he didn't do that. Kind of reminds me a little bit how Terrence Howard was the one who vouched for Robert Downey Jr. to get the Iron Man role, because we know that Robert Downey Jr., his stock in Hollywood had fallen off, man. You know what I'm saying? With the drug issues and a string of bad movies and roles that didn't really amount to shit. So they were taking a real risk getting Robert Downey Jr. Remember, Robert Downey Jr. was just getting a comeback then, starring in Tropic Thunder, starring in Zodiac. He was just starting to get a renaissance back then when he was about 40. So they gave him the Iron Man role on the word of Terrence Howard. Because at that time, Terrence Howard was hot, man. Hustle and Flow. He was in a string of hit movies. So Iron Man's a huge hit. And now all of a sudden, when they do the sequel, they want to cut Terrence Howard's pay. Do you think that Robert Downey Jr. vouched for him? Nope. So, that's why I've always said, sometimes, man, it just doesn't make any sense to me how so many times, well, you know what, I'm not going to go there. I was going to make a point about something. But, yeah, that's just what Skip did. You know what I'm saying? That's just what Skip did, and that's what he's about, man. I don't think Skip is a really good person, to be honest with you, man. And he comes across to me as almost borderline Asperger's type. Like, he comes across as a guy that might have Asperger's syndrome, or something like that. He comes across as one of those types of people, man. And they might have people like that. They lack emotional depth. They tend to have egos. Well, you know what? No. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to do that, because I don't want to talk about all of them. I'm not going to go there. I take that back. I don't want to go there. But he does give that vibe. You know what I'm saying? There's a little bit autism-y type situation with Skip. I don't know. But anyway, good listen from Cris Carter, man. I'm glad he went in again on this dude. I'm not a fan of Skip Bayless. I never understood why people like this guy so much. I never did. But anyway, tell me what you guys think.